Hello there. Now, if David Lammy thought he could just waltz into Manchester and placate the angry and fearful Jewish community with some vacuous words, well, he was wrong. And this happened before he even gave his speech.
Minister David Lammy, and before I do, please, we know how we all feel. We know how we all feel.
Go to Palestine! Shame on you! Go to Palestine! Leave us alone!
They allowed it to grow on our campuses. Our children's school was closed today. You have allowed this to happen.
You have blood on your hands!
You're all guilty of it all. You have allowed Jew hatred in Manchester on the street. You have allowed it. You are all guilty. We do not want this beacon here today. You do not speak you do not want this beacon. Shame on you. Shame on you.
Shame on you! Shame on you!
Shame on you. Shame on you. Empty words. We want
Okay, all right, we've heard enough. We've heard enough. We've heard enough. We know how you feel. I know how I feel. Let's give the time for our Deputy Prime Minister to address us. David Lammy.
Yes. So before he even spoke, he was coming under fire. And then David Lammy gave us a masterclass in how not to address a recently attacked community. And I'll just play you his speech, and Richard will probably be stepping in now and again to make a comment about this. And so will I.
Before you do, Jeff, I will say
Right.
that is probably the warmest welcome David Lammy's actually had outside of a Labour Party conference. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can understand the
Yes.
emotion there. Go on. Check the video
and
on, Jeff.
Yeah, the other thing is, of course, that it's probably why Keir Starmer wasn't there today. He sent his deputy prime minister, didn't
But he was there. But he was there.
Oh,
No,
where was
Starmer
he then?
was there. Oh, he was there earlier on in the day. And
right.
he didn't want to,
Okay, I didn't
before
see
anybody
that bit.
turned up. Oh, yes, the sneaky little...
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if
yeah,
you've seen
we got
it,
that
but...
later, haven't we? We have
Yeah.
got that later. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. I hadn't realised that was earlier in the day. I've been very
Yeah.
busy today. Right,
You
anyway,
have,
here
indeed.
comes David Lammy without further ado.
Can't wait.
Friends, we must stand together today. We must stand in grief, in solidarity and in defiance. Grief for the innocent lives that were taken so cruelly, senseless murders carried out on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish year. Grief that causes so much pain and so much suffering. Today, our hearts, our thoughts, our prayers must be with the families and those who were killed. And of course with this community, this Jewish community, both here in Manchester and at Heaton Park Synagogue. Right across our nation, and as the Member of Parliament for Tottenham, I know the suffering in Crumpsall is the same as the pain, the worry and the frightened faces in my own constituency and in the area of Stamford Hill, one of the historic homes of the Jewish community in this country. In that sense, London and Manchester are twin communities, grieving as one, and the whole nation
Oh, what's he on about?
is with them.
No, pause, Jeff, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
He's
I know.
trying to draw parallels here. This is just the most uninspiring speech I've ever heard in my life. This is meant to be a deputy prime minister coming out and describing instead of comforting and empathizing truly with the people there. He's trying to draw fake parallels. And I have seen this speech, and he's going to go on to show, oh, I know your pain because a friend of mine died as a result of an Islamic attack. A lot of people's friends have died as a result of Islamic attacks, incidentally. But continue, please, Jeff. Sorry. Find this vacuous.
I mean, for me, the whole thing is, the word I was going to use is vacuous. He's put no emotion into this at all, has he? None. He is giving a technical speech to a group of lawyers. That's how he's framing it.
Yeah.
And I know it's raining, but at least he's got a guy holding his umbrella for him, hasn't he? But you know, it's pathetic. I think my mate's dog could have done a better job than that and put more emotion into it. But there you go. Anyway, let's continue and see what else he has to say.
That's why we stand in solidarity with the Jewish people, because an attack like this is never felt alone. Wherever you are in our country, Jewish people, our friends, our neighbours, our loved ones, are terrified by the events of yesterday, of becoming targets, victims of anti-Semitic hate.
Pause. Yes, I wonder why. Yes, that's right. That's right, David Lammy. Simply because of who they are. And you've allowed this sentiment to be stoked on the streets of this country every weekend. Every weekend. Even the Justice Secretary, the former Justice Secretary, who's standing behind him there, I believe Shabana Mahmood is behind him somewhere there with an umbrella. And she was at these pro-Palestine marches where this hatred, where genocide has been called for, where the deaths of Jews has been called for. She's been at there waving the flag, waving the Palestinian flag. Makes me absolutely sick. Yeah. These people are hypocrites, cowards, and utterly bloody pathetic. Play, Jeff, please. Thank you.
Well, yeah, I'm just looking at this comment by Often Antisocial, who wrote his script.
What
exactly
wrote his script?
Yeah, what? Which, I bet you, AI? Do you reckon it was an AI thing?
Well, I think it could have been possibly
I
in
think
there,
AI
but
could have done better.
Yeah, just press play. I've had enough of this.
Yeah.
These complete. Go on. I can't listen to it for much longer.
Well, there's another 2 hours of no.
Yeah.
But I know this about Britain's Jewish community. A community I have known all of my life. You are strong, you are resilient, and you will never be cowed. And that's what I want you to know today. That our country, those of all colours, all faiths and none, stand with you.
I don't think so somehow. I think there's one group of people who don't stand with the Jews there today, and I'm trying to think who it is, and I can't think for the life of me.
Yes.
Yeah, press play, Jeff.
Actually,
sorry, carry
you'll
on.
see them marching. You'll see them marching tomorrow. The ones that don't stand with the Jews. Now, I will just point out that there are within that group, and there were last night, a few Jews were in those pro-Hamas, pro-Palestine, whatever you want to call them, groups that were protesting last night. They were there. And
yes,
that sort of
that's another matter entirely, Jeff. Sorry.
I know what you mean. Yeah. And as Claire says, it was a pleasure to watch him be humbled. And absolutely.
Totally.
This will not do his case to be the Prime Minister any good at all. Anyway.
With you against terrorism. We stand with you against those who think bombs and blasts will break us. We stand against all those who would minimise or coddle or obfuscate on anti-Jewish hate. We know terrorism in this country. We know it, of course, in this city. We saw it at the arena. And we have seen it in Heaton Park. We all know terrorism. We all feel terrorism. My best friend from childhood, James Adams, was blown to smithereens in the 7/7 bombings. And I vow to you, every Christian, every Muslim, every Jew, every Mancunian, every Brit,
pause. Wait, just a sec. He's addressing the Jewish community. Why did he?
Yeah.
Right. The only reason he started, he said every Christian. Okay. Why did he say Christian? Because obviously he couldn't be. This was targeted towards the Muslim community to reassure the Muslim community. That's what this appears to be doing. I might be wrong, Jeff. I might be misreading this. But when you're addressing the Jewish community, why the hell are you talking about the Christian, the Jewish communities as well? He didn't mention the Zoroastrian communities. He didn't mention the Hindu communities. He didn't mention the Buddhist communities. No, this was very cleverly crafted so he could slip in there that he is there to reassure the Muslim communities. Oh, yes. Oh, and you happen to be Jews that I'm speaking in front of. What a complete tut-nutter wang. Carry on, Jeff.
Yes. And as I said yesterday, and I've said a couple of times, I think that when they were in their Cobra meeting yesterday, saying, oh, we've got to protect the Jews, protect the synagogues, protect the Jewish schools, I bet you there was quiet talk about beefing up security for another demographic, just in case the far right decided to do something, and we must. And I bet you they're out checking up on anybody they think is far right, just in case they attempted to say things on Twitter or whatever about this. Oh, yeah, you know what was happening. You know exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And what gets me, though, is what he's actually saying to me is, come on, boys, we're better than this. We can be tolerant. We can take more of this, all for the sake of the diversity of the UK. That's the sort of language I'm hearing. It's not about going out and taking on and defeating it and fighting it in the, it's all about it's all an acceptance of it, life in the new UK. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is life in a modern society. Yeah, in a modern society, modern civilized society, you should be prepared and accept what has just happened. That's what he's pretty much saying. Sorry, carry on, Jeff. If you can play there.
Yeah, and I just want to. It's just suddenly occurred to me. A lot of people were saying that it's only 2 people were killed, or in fact, the killer only, the perpetrator only killed 1 person. Another person was actually killed in an accidental shooting from the police. It appears to be. I'm not sure whether that's been confirmed yet. However, the reason that there were fewer deaths was because how prepared the Jewish community was. They had a plan. They basically had a procedure, and they went bang. They shut the doors and protected themselves. Just imagine if they hadn't been prepared. If that had just been a church service, a Church of England service in a leafy village somewhere, what would have happened?
Oh, yeah, and by the sounds of it, there is the potential that will be happening in December if unfortunate predictions are true. So I'm very worried about it. Carry on, Jeff.
We will never stop fighting it. That is why we stand in defiance of those terrorists who seek to divide us, who want to pit neighbour against neighbour, to weaken the bonds that bind us together as one nation.
Shut up.
I've got to say, here is the man, part of a government that has done all they can to pander to a certain demographic for their votes. These people will they'll stoop to any level, won't they? And then they're now talking about, and they're not. They won't even. Why won't they just say that they've let the Jewish community down, big style? Admit it, but they can't, can they?
No, because that would mean they'd have to identify their error. They'd have to identify their errors then. And if they identify their error, their whole premise for, well,
yeah,
what's the word I'm looking for? Their entire premise for their government, I suppose, really. The entire reason for their government's actions is then set into question. And we are talking, the ramifications which are just incomprehensible. We are talking about immigration. We are talking about the allowing of certain marches. Oh, Jeff, honestly, this is... They cannot accept, they cannot admit they are wrong, because as soon as they do, they're right in the crap. Go on, mate.
Yes, they are. Yeah, I'd just like Richard B's comment here. Lammy only turned up because he heard there was a buffet afterwards. Well, who are we to comment?
Well, I don't know. I think they have to turn up.
Please, let the Deputy Prime Minister speak, please.
Every Saturday!
Please!
We must not let them divide us. We must show them who we really are. Not what they want us to become or to believe, but Britain's true nature. A tolerant nation, built on mutual respect.
Really?
How much?
Really? Mutual respect?
Yeah.
Mutual respect? I'm sorry, there's a lot of people in this country who don't get mutual respect. The Jews haven't had mutual respect. Anyone who is, well, let's just say part of the indigenous population, okay, with me identifying indigenous as people who come here just purely to muck in and chip in, regardless of skin colour. They don't get much respect. They don't get mutual respect. But there is a demographic who you are supporting, and purely the same demographic His Majesty, His so-called effing Majesty the King, is supporting, and they don't just get mutual respect, they get total and utter respect. Ah, Jeff.
Yes. And Carl B says, don't mock the future Prime Minister. Well, if that ever came to pass, then I think we really have had it, haven't we? Anyway, we must play some more to see what pearls of wisdom do drop from his lips.
Common understanding where people live not in fear.
Empty words. We want action.
But in freedom, that is who we are. That is who we will always be. And it cannot be eroded by violence. It cannot be erased by vile acts, such as those carried out here yesterday. I want to close with this thought. When I have lost loved ones in the past, Jewish friends have often used a phrase to comfort me. May their memory be a blessing. Nothing will ever take away the pain of what happened here, but how we respond now. How we stand together, yes, in grief and in solidarity, but also in defiance and a shared mission against terror in the name of us all. That response honours those we have lost. May their memory be a blessing, not just to their families, not just to the Jewish community, but to our entire nation always. And for those that are considering marching over the weekend, I ask them to reflect with all human dignity, grace and understanding, and to stop and to stand back. Thank you.
They call for our in the park! Walk past the university Sunday!
You do not want to live here anymore!
Well, there you go.
One of the comments there.
Yeah.
One of the comments I just heard there, it was, we don't want to live here anymore. Children don't want to live here. Whatever it was. I mean, that's it. The Jewish people. This idiot just stood in front of a grieving community and rubbed salt into their wounds. Effectively, that's what that was, because they knew damn well that he doesn't believe a word that he was saying for a start, except the moment where he mentioned the Muslim community, probably, because that seems to be the only community that he seems to care about and his government seems to care about. Let's not forget that his government, that they're so effing proud in their actions, where they actually declared, recognized the state of Palestine. Okay? Delegitimizing all of the state of Israel effectively. And then you think, well, how does the one lead to the other? Oh my goodness. Because there is never going to be a two-state solution. Hamas and other organizations in the Middle East do not want a two-state solution. This was just spitting in the faces of I'm afraid, of a grieving community. Pathetic. Utterly pathetic.
Yeah. Good Broken Prophet says tolerance is not a virtue. There does come a time when tolerance is your enemy. You being tolerant is your own enemy. It is your own self-destruction. We passed that years ago. I would say we passed that years ago. We should have had zero tolerance. But the trouble is that for some reason the electorate never chose a government that would follow through. We are now in the last chance saloon. And we might well see a reform government coming through at some stage. It's not my preferred result, but it's better than what we've got. And if that's the only thing on offer at the next election, or it's the very strongest, then, you know, we've got to vote the way we think. And just to let you know, reform is still powering ahead. I'll just add this one quickly in. Because there were 7 by-elections yesterday, and Reform won 6 of them. As well as holding 1 seat in the Isle of Wight, Reform claimed 1 seat from Labour and another from the Tories before winning a landslide victory in the Harrietsham and Lenham by-election in Maidstone, Kent. Reacting to the wins, Mr Farage said Reform won 6 out of 7 councillors in local by-elections last night. A great effort from our activists. This will only increase as time goes on because the Labour Party, and I think that came from GB News, by the way. The Labour Party isn't changing. I don't think that at the end of in the final analysis, whatever a few high-profile Tories say, there are too many wets in the Tory party to follow through on anything other than much of the same that they did the last time they were in.
Yeah, but there won't be any Jewish voters now for Labour. The Labour Party will have no Jewish voters now, and I doubt very much the Tory party will as well, because these marches chanting from the river to the sea were taking place earlier on last year and since October the 7th, let's 2023. Let's not forget that, okay? So, I think the Uni Party has urinated quite succinctly on its own chips when it comes to any support from the Jewish community. Now, as for Farage and Reform... Well, hang on a sec. As for Farage and Reform being outside the Uni Party, time will tell. I don't hold much hope out for them. Again, Advance UK, look at them. And there are other people as well that we need to be unifying the real true right in this country and being there supporting the Jewish community of this country and all the communities that wish to join together and muck in together. But we have one culture here, and we are a Christian nation. And a Christian nation protects people, okay? But at the same time, it doesn't allow violence to take place by certain communities either. Anyway, Jeff.
Yeah, sorry, I was going to say something, and now I've forgotten what I was going to say. It's called age. Gwen Gamble... Yeah, Gwen Gamble points out, it's just come to light that the perpetrator was known and had previous crimes. Yes. Now, this grips me, because do you remember what the police said? He's not known to us. We know nothing about this guy. He came from out of nowhere. Turns out that's not quite true, because from Sky News, let's just show this, and I've cut out a word. The eagle eyes will notice that I've cut out the word, the offending word, but if I get rid of that one, where's that one gone? That one. Breaking. Manchester attack latest. Jihad al-Shami was on police bail for alleged... Yeah. Sky News understands. Jihad al-Shami was on police bail for an alleged R-word when he carried out a terror attack yesterday, Sky News understands. Earlier, Greater Manchester Police said one of 2 people killed was mistakenly shot by officers during the response. Follow the latest below. So there you go. And the police say he wasn't known to them. But they did very early on, say they knew his name. They thought they knew the identity of the guy, but he wasn't known to them.
Yes. Heat Jar 63 says he was a Welsh choir boy, ? Highly likely, yes, indeed. We've got choirs filled with such wonderful people. I don't mean to joke and say wonderful people. What an absolute piece of scum he is. I mean, for goodness sake, his name is Jihad. I mean, I'm sorry if that offends somebody, but I find that a very strange name for a male, as we discussed yesterday, Jeff. You know, it sort of doesn't sort of inspire confidence in somebody's character. But that could be. But then again, this could be just a naming of somebody that is socially acceptable in other cultures, Jeff. And we have to be, for the sake of the Online Safety Act, and we don't want to be doing any malicious communication, so we have to say that Jihad's actually quite a sweet name, isn't it? Yes, of course it is.
Actually, this morning I did a video at lunchtime, and in there I talked about this, and I said, exactly that. His name was probably chosen in an area of the world where that was a good name. Now, could you imagine someone in this country, as I said this morning in my video, calling their son Crusader?
Oh no, that wouldn't go down very well. That'd be offensive, that would, Jeff. That'd be really offensive. Oh
Jihad's
yes,
not offensive.
No,
Crusader
but
would be.
Yeah. Well, I think there'll be so many people in so many communities who would be offended by such a name. So it's good that nobody calls their child Crusader. I mean, we wouldn't want to see that creeping up, would we? We wouldn't want to see the most popular boy's name in Britain being Crusader, would we? No, that would be terrible, wouldn't it? Yes,
it would.
Awful.
Oh, it would not go down. Actually, I did make the comment that if your child is called Jihad, they will always get a school place. But if your son was called Crusader, you do have to wonder, don't you? Anyway,
yes.
As Richie Toctic says, please, no more flannel from Lammy. The cringe factor is unbearable. It was, wasn't it? It was terrible. Emotionless, hypocritical waffle. And the emotionless
100%.
part of it was what got me. I mean, as I said, he was just reading out a lawyer's speech to a bunch of lawyers. Oh, we're now going to talk about the lacuna where you can get extra tax from doing this and That's how it came out to me. Well, it was just waffle.
Speaking of speeches and waffle, should we... you have another video there, Jeff, as well, of our Prime Minister, I believe.
Oh, wait a minute. I just want to, just before we do that, just want to say thank you, Muttley. If I can show this. Now they're trying to ship the blame onto armed police. Yeah, I said this yesterday when this came out, that the police are in the middle. They had a choice to make. There they had in front of them someone who, I'm not sure whether they did a controlled explosion, remember, so it looked like it was a viable device. So they thought there was a viable device. Don't know the power of it. It could have blown the whole place down. They had to shoot him. And I'm just assuming that one of the rounds went through or through the door.
Well, that's what it appears, yes.
People, so... Yeah. But the trouble is, you see, in the split second that an officer makes that sort of call, then gets poured over by judges and barristers and solicitors ad infinitum in super slow motion. Why didn't you think of that? Why didn't you think of that? Why didn't you do that? What was your training on day 3? It said it said that, and these poor guys and girls have to react instantly. And that's why it's so awful that these veterans from Northern Ireland are being chased and chased and chased. We're going to keep going and analysing their every move until we can find a way to hammer them.
Yeah.
Even though what they did was done in 1/200th of a second. And that's what's going to happen. Do you remember the guy who shot, the officer who shot someone in a car through the car window because he was about to use his car as a ram, and actually he was cleared of the crime of murder, but he's still being chased by all and sundry because they want to do him for something. You know, if it's all really about diversity, to be honest. That's what it's all about. You've got to, both sides have got to have a win. Yeah, that's where we're at now. Both sides have got to have a win, and it's pathetic. It's either justice or it ain't. But anyway, sorry. Yes, we now have another video for you, and this is your star. You love him. You think he's wonderful, and I give you your Prime Minister,
dreadful
Keir Starmer.
A terrorist attack to inflict fear, attacking Jews because they are Jews. And it's really important today that the whole country comes together, people of all faiths and no faiths, to stand in support and solidarity with our Jewish community. And I know that your work and everything you've done will help to that end, but it is something the whole country now needs to do. We must defeat anti-Semitism.
Yes, I wonder where a good start would be by banning these marches, these evil marches. I mean, you've got people chanting for genocide. Chanting for genocide. Arrest them. Go on. If that's what they're doing, which they are, arrest them. Ensure that they never do it again. Oh, no, that would be too difficult, wouldn't it? Oh, we've got to stop anti-Semitism. Shut up, you absolute plank. You are nothing but a national embarrassment. You and your Deputy Prime Minister. And then you've got your Home Secretary. Oh, as I said, I'm not so sure where that lady's loyalties really lie.
Nor am I. I don't think any of their loyalties lie with this country at all. I've got to say, they have a vision for this country being part of this grand new world where there are no borders, where all the rich people are completely stripped of everything and everything's given to the few remaining political elites and spread amongst everyone else. And then we'll all be very happy because we won't own anything. We won't be able to go anywhere. We won't have any history. We won't have anything. All we can look forward to every day is getting up and going to work. And then when you get to a certain age, you'll sort of be encouraged to just shuffle off before you can claim your pension. Yeah, the future is horrific under them. Totally horrific.
Yeah, it is. It's just sickening. Sickening. I honestly, I don't know how they got the goal, how they had the goal to actually go up to Manchester to stand in front of that crowd. Well, let's face it, Starmer didn't. He wouldn't stand in front of the crowd. That's how much of a leader he is. The strong leader. And if you think that you're going to destroy this country with your divisive speech and our wonderful communities, you are the enemy. Yeah, shut up. No, you absolute plank. We are not the enemy. We are the ones being attacked, whilst you seem to be encouraging, or at the very least allowing anti-Semitism to run, to rip right through this land. But that does not sound strange coming from the Labour Party, because didn't they just, under the last Labour leader, they got basically prescribed as an organisation that was found guilty of anti-Semitism. Isn't that funny?
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think they were actually proscribed, but it would have been a bloody good move, wouldn't it?
No, they were
proscribing the Labour Party.
No, they weren't prescribed as a terrorist. No, you can be prescribed. They weren't prescribed as a terrorist organisation, but they were prescribed as an organisation, I believe. I may be wrong, of course, but I'm pretty much certain they were prescribed and identified as an anti-Semite. That anti-Semitism was rife within their organisation, within the party. There we go.
Now, Jenny Pritchard has got a good point. This is the first time I agreed with Starmer when he said that we are fighting for the soul of the UK. Yes, the trouble is that Starmer doesn't realise he's on the wrong side, does he? Being the complete and utter dork that he doesn't realise that he is the enemy. When he says, I bet he was practising that in the mirror, wasn't he? You are the enemy. Well, he is the enemy. Yes.
Oh, well, he's a sort of enemy, I suppose. I mean, he's not a real enemy. He's a nice kind of enemy, isn't he? Because using the word enemy, unless he's using the word enemy, could be seen as inflammatory, Jeff. So we can't really be thinking or saying such things. In fact, everything we've said today about the Labour Party that was in any and the leadership in the Labour Party that was in any way negative, you have to understand it was a metaphor. We haven't decided what it was a metaphor of yet, but when we do, we'll let you know, and that could be in quite a while. But it was all metaphorical and not to be taken seriously. Nothing we say is to be taken seriously. Of course not, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry.
Yes. I've got to say that I'm reading through the comments, and there are a lot of comments about not particularly being in favour of a certain demographic. I'm not going to put those
the far right. Yes, the far right.
Oh, sorry.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. This is all about the far right, of course. Yes. I mean, all you lot. That's right. Good on you. Yeah. Everybody hates the far right. Yes, because I mean, not that we have a real identifiable we do have an identifiable far right in this country, but it's not anything to do with reform,
like,
advance, Tommy Robinson. Yeah, that's it. That's a bit big, actually, for how big the that's how small they are. Yeah. In number.
And Claire says he speaks like he's lecturing. Yeah, exactly. He was lecturing them on how they must react by not reacting, by sucking it all up, just tolerating it, all for the sake of us moving forward in our big, new, diverse country. Yeah, we can see where that's going, can't we? And Trevor Pritchard says, pathetic, both of them. So, yeah, I'd agree with that. They were, weren't they? I mean, it really was pathetic.
Again, can you imagine what it was like, though, for the Jewish community to be presented with that as comfort? Yeah. You've got David Lammy there. The Prime Minister's too much of a coward to even turn up. You've got the former Justice Secretary, now Home Secretary, standing behind, just to add some kind of moral support. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, what's this? Nazi Tube says, no one is chanting for genocide. Misinfo to create violence. It's you lot need talking to. Well, I've seen them chanting for genocide.
Yes, yes, I've seen them chanting for genocide. Sorry.
The pro-pallies, pallies. I've been there and seen it, seen the signs, and I've seen the placards. There is no doubt in my mind at all. Yes, he's more loyal to Brussels, says Matt. Of course he's more loyal to Brussels. He's always been more. Everybody on that side is more loyal to Brussels. They don't like... In fact, they shouldn't be allowed to stand for Westminster if they prefer Brussels, should they? Really? Yes.
Well, he
actually, someone
prefers
makes a point.
Davos.
Drummer 3354 says the police were effing useless. Watch the video. Yeah, I've seen that video, and they got there within 5 or 6 minutes and had to make a decision. Yeah, it's not an easy job, I don't think. It's very easy for people.
Yeah, I can't make a criticism of the police in what they did there. But the police,
it's difficult.
Of late, have been effing useless, I would say, when it comes to dealing with.
Actually, it's quite funny. Those two police officers looked quite slim and fit, didn't they? You know what I mean? They look quite, not like some of them do when they waddle down the street, not able to chase anyone. Yes, no more diversity, says P. Wright. It's not our strength. Yeah, we ought to stick to our strengths, and diversity doesn't seem to be one of them, does it? Yeah.
No. Yeah, why do we have to be diverse? Other countries don't have to be diverse. Why do we have to be diverse?
We do. Yeah.
So is there a reason for this? Is there a reason why? I mean, if you let's take there's a couple of countries I can name. Just off the top of my head. Pakistan. Diversity doesn't seem to be doing so well there in many respects. Yeah. Okay, let's take Iran. I'm half Iranian. So let's take a look at how diversity is there. And now you can say that there is a Jewish community in Iran, and there is quite a large Jewish community in Iran that is quite frightened, incidentally, but it is in existence. But you do have also the fastest growing church in the world is in Iran. However, you got to be bloody careful. You've got to be very bloody careful out there if you're not of a certain belief system, which incidentally most Iranians aren't. That's the crazy thing. Most Iranians do not. You'd be shocked to know how most Iranians think. A lot of the Iranians who are crossing here over into Britain right now are not the type of Iranians that Iran wants either, incidentally. So, very interesting, that.
Yes, they are. It's quite funny about that particular situation, because it went from being a Christian country, or, well, not of the other demographic, let's put it that way, within a few years. It was so quick, the change from what was actually a Western country, really, looking at
Iran.
the pictures from the 70s. Yeah, Iran.
Well, Iran wasn't a majorly Christian country. It was more Jewish and Zoroastrian.
Yeah.
Many countries.
Yeah, but that's why I said it wasn't of another demographic. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at if you look at Egypt, for instance. Most of North Africa, Syria. We're talking about Christian countries originally, and then something happened. Can't think what.
Yeah,
and it wasn't peaceful.
Yeah. Yes. I've just checked up on something which sort of confirmed what I was thinking. The Labour Party were found guilty of being anti-Semitic by the EHCR, which is it's not exactly prescribing them or anything. So yeah, they
not
were
as a terrorist
found...
organisation, but you can
nothing
prescribe
nothing like that.
Yeah,
it's nothing like that. They were just found guilty of it. Of that by the EHCR, yes. Anyway, so that's why I looked this up, because John Johnson says Labour were found guilty of anti-Semitism, if I'm not mistaken, Jeff, weren't they? Yes, I knew they were, but it wasn't a sort of a criminal. No one went to jail over it and all that sort of thing.
Of course not.
And thank you, Michael Brunson McLean. When a death cult wants to dominate another peaceful religion, there will never be peace. And this sort of gets to the crux of the matter, really. And we need to... it's how do we deal with it? And the Labour Party response is, if we leave it long enough, if we just let it run long enough, it'll all disappear. It will all go away. Well, when a death cult wants to dominate another peaceful religion, there will never be peace. Yes, indeed. And of course, we are talking about the religion of the far right here. We're not talking about any other religion. Because there is no other death cult at all. And we must remember that. And, we have to be compliant to what our lovely, beloved leader wants us to say. So, yes, of course. Yes, it's far right all the way. Far right, yeah, whatever. Far right, yeah. Yes. Phil Drury says, well, the rumours of the New World Order and their one world religion may have some basis. In fact, a basis that's becoming very clear. Yeah, I can see that. Yes. And we shouldn't be shying away from these discussions because it's becoming more and more obvious that borders, with the World Economic Forum, the United Nations and all the rest of them, borders are not wanted. That's why our politicians have worked tirelessly against borders. Whatever they say, whatever they do, whatever they tell you, doesn't matter. It's the laws they enact to make sure the borders become unenforceable. They must not be enforceable otherwise they won't get their one world where there's just one government of experts, scientists, engineers who tell you what you must do because you're just a thick amoeba. And that's what they want. Not what I want. I rather like being a thick amoeba and just getting on with my own stuff, you know.
Yes, we are very, very much two thick amoebas together there, Jeff, to be honest with you, yes.
Yes,
Totally thick,
absolutely.
Yes.
Anyway,
look at on the food. If you look at the food chain, there's Jeff and I at the very bottom. Okay, right at the bottom, right there, under bacteria. Go on.
Yes. Anyway, getting back to David Lammy and now Keir Starmer giving these talks. They sound like focus group talks, don't they? Oh, right. Before we go there, what have we got to talk about? What do you think, Thingy? What do you think? Why didn't they just come out straight to camera with how they really think? Where was the inspiration? Where was the emotion? Where was it? You know, talking to these groups of people that are really now fearful for their life. That they were really lucky to get away with the few they got away with in terms of deaths. They really were lucky. Could have been much, much worse than that. And
I mean, I don't think they'll be considering themselves lucky, but I do understand what you're saying.
But,
yeah.
No,
they
but
will be.
You know, when you analyse it,
scheme of things,
coldly, yes, yeah.
Oh yes, I think it's a horrific thing that has just taken place yesterday, and it is another point of shame for the United Kingdom that we've allowed our country to fall so far and fast. People in America will be looking across at Britain now and thinking it really is descending into a hellhole. Who would want to invest in Britain right now and start going, oh, you're talking down our country. Look at you. You're talking down Great Britain. Yeah, that's... No. You've destroyed Great Britain, you prat. Okay? You have completely destroyed the United Kingdom. You and your ilk. And incidentally, the government before you. You're all the same. You all need to be removed from the chessboard, from the political chessboard. And we need to have somebody come in very soon who will do what needs to be done to save the United Kingdom. Whatever that is, I don't know. I could put forward a few suggestions, but I won't. But there needs to be a lot of it, whatever it is that needs to be done.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's we really are in difficult times, aren't we? And I really, the things I want to say, I can't because of the platform we're on, and that goes for most YouTubers. We do talk to each other. And we do try to put a message across without it crossing any lines. And that's the difficult bit when we do this. So although you may want us to just rant and rave and really hit everything that you believe, you wouldn't hear from us again. That would be the end of it.
No.
So,
I mean, to be honest, compared to many, we are quite tame, to be honest with you. That's the other side of it. There are people who go a lot further than we do. But I'm sorry, we have to be able to express ourselves and our anger as well. And we do so without inciting hatred or violence to any group of people whatsoever in this country, because to do so would be to totally go against our own moral beliefs, incidentally. We are both Christians, Jeff and myself, and that is not the way that we would like to see things go. At the same time, we don't think that we should be sitting back as a nation and being divided by people like our Prime Minister, who I believe was quite, has done a lot of inciting, and as so did our Home Secretary, by saying that what we were looking at in London on the 16th of September was something akin to, ethno-nationalism and the natural sort of airs of skinheads, and who would use and then she used the P word, P bashers. Okay. Yeah. Are you trying to wind people up? Is it, because that's what it felt like today when I was watching David Lammy speak. When this Prime Minister went to Manchester but didn't speak, I thought, are you trying to wind the people up? Is this your intention? Because you're doing a very good job of it. We're a nation that is gaslit, totally gaslit by our leadership in this country. And that goes right to the top, to his royal slyness right at the top.
Yeah, now they're going to bring in these ridiculous ID cards. And I read somewhere there was a claim by the government. They said we are going to introduce ID cards in line with our manifesto. So I got the manifesto and I read it, and I even used a spell checker to find the word ID, identity and card. No mention of introducing identity cards. So if they are going to follow their manifesto on introducing identity cards, that means they shouldn't bring them in, doesn't it, Mr. Starmer? But they just lie and lie again. And that's all they're doing all the time. And so no wonder people have given up with the people like Starmer and Lammy. Yeah, and as David Williams says, this is now not the England I was born in. Well, it's, it is the same piece of land, but it's far changed from what it was when I was a child, when I was born.
It's a far change from just 30 years ago. It's unrecognisable as a country compared to what it was 30 years ago. That's all. That's the time difference we're looking at. I mean, you could even say 20 years ago, 10 years ago, possibly things were pretty bad then. 20 years ago, we had Blair in, and I think it was 20 years ago we had Blair in. He was still a Blair then, wasn't he? Yes, he was still in then.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good grief.
Yes, thank you, Gary Plain. Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you, Gary.
And from All Things Film with Yam Yam, thank you very much. I hope you both be politicians for Advance UK. At the moment, I'm just doing my own little thing, and so is Richard, I think, at the moment. So, yes.
We'll see.
Never, I won't say... it's just that at the moment, I am extremely busy with things, and I've stood for Parliament. I've stood for various things before. It soaks up a lot of time, takes up a lot of time, and a lot of money. It leaves you sort of brassic at the end of the process. So, unless the party is big enough and well funded enough to do it for you, because just being a candidate for Parliament, 500 nicker, and if you don't get, was it 5% of the vote, you lose it, and that's gone. It's a contribution to the government coffers. And then there's all the leaflets you need to produce. And then when you have a general election, there's or a constituency election, there are these letters that get sent out to all voters by the post office. You have to pay for them and give them the script so that they can and get them printed and properly sorted. And that costs, I don't know, 1,500-1,700 quid just for a basic level. If you want to go the full works, you're talking about several grand. So, and then there's all the shoe leather of walking around and talking to people.
Well,
it's not an easy thing to do, I can assure you.
But ladies and gentlemen, here's one thing that you can do to help out the Jeff Taylor channel, and that is to press the like button. I know you might be, yes, press it. Please press it. And then there's the subscribe button. Oh, and I've got some new information for you, by the way. Right, so click the subscribe button, then choose the all option with that little bell is and subscribe all. All right, click that. Now then, here's another thing which people forget about as well. On your phone or whatever app you're using to watch this on, if you take a look, you go to your settings, and then you go to apps, I think it is like on an iPhone, and then you find the YouTube app, and make sure you've got notifications on, because most of you will have subscribed. A lot of you will have subscribed and clicked all this, but you don't receive any notifications because your notifications are off. So go to the YouTube app itself via settings, if you're on an iPhone or whatever, on an iOS device, and click that. Choose it. Yeah, choose it. There we go. Right. I'm shutting up now. And Jeff, to be honest with you, I think we're going to have to start making a move as well, because we've done this one to death, I think. And
yes, we have. Well, there's only so much rubbish, so much crap you can throw at people like Lammy, and because they just ignore it anyway. They're covered in it, and they just don't even realise, do they? So
it's a very good point. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, though, please check on your YouTube app. Do that on your phone, on or whatever you're watching this on. Check to see if you're getting notifications through, okay? On settings.
I found I wasn't subscribed to YouTube. That's why I wasn't getting, because I'm subscribed to, as you can imagine, other YouTubers like me to see what they say, and I wasn't, and everyone kept talking about these notifications, and I don't get any, and I found out why, because on my iPhone in the app I hadn't pressed the button that says accept notifications from YouTube. So you may have actually subscribed to 100 channels and not be getting any notifications at all. And there you go.
Yeah, and there's a joke here by Matt, which is a very good one, actually. And if you know, you know. And it says, say good night to Mrs. Thorpe, Richard. Good night, Mrs. Thorpe. See you soon, therefore. It was from a previous video. Yeah, previous video. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Anyway, there you go. And on that note, I'm going to say it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him. And he's Mr. Jeff Taylor. Goodbye.
Goodbye.